Hey, good evening, YouTubers, and welcome back to another Toddy Walnuts video. This is going to be a chill video. I'm going to go through a couple of books. We're going to flip through and check out some of these magazines that I collected over the years. I have a little variety here of different publications and magazines and monster books that I picked up over time. And we'll do a flip through and we'll just do a chill video. I have a hard time sleeping. I've had a hard time sleeping my entire adult life. I do have terrible insomnia. So when I do videos like this, it helps me to kind of relax, and hopefully it'll help you guys relax a little bit too. So get comfortable, get relaxed, get a snack and a beverage. Let's check out some of these books that I picked up. We'll do a little flip through. So before we get into the books here, I just wanted to show that the ladies are with me today. I have young Heidi and big Hannah, and we're all in chill mode here. It's Friday night. It's about 10:30 p.m. So hopefully I'll be able to go to sleep after this. Let's see. We'll start with... So I have a couple of famous monster magazines, Scary Monsters, Shadowland magazine. I got a couple of horror Hound magazines. I got some books from the 70s. These are creepy magazines from Warren magazine. I think we'll start with the complete Night of the Living Dead film book. And this was an original release. And this one was signed by John Russo, who was the co-author of Night of the Living Dead, along with George A. Romero. And you can see he signed it right there. And this is the original printing, the first printing of the book. Here's the certificate of authenticity, limited to 1,000 copies. I actually picked up 2 of these books really cheap. Somebody had a stack of these that were sitting around for many years in a warehouse, and I was lucky enough to grab 2 of them. So one I'm going to keep sealed. But this is the original print from 1985. And you can see the original price back then was $12.95. I don't remember what I paid for it, but it wasn't much more than that. These books did have some damage, and that's just how they came. There's a little bit of kind of fading at the top on the print. But they did come sealed in a bag, and these are some old books. But I happen to love these movies. I think the original trilogy are excellent. And there you can see John Russo. He was actually the co-author of the movie, but he was also a ghoul in the movie as well. And you can see him there in his makeup. I'm not going to go through every single page of every book, but I do kind of want to... It says it's a press kit photo of Russo from back in the late 60s. I believe 1968 is when the original Night of the Living Dead was released. And there you can see Kyra Schoen, who was the famous zombie girl. And there you can see her now kind of grown up. But keep in mind, this was from 1985. So that's the 1968 photo, and that's the 1985 photo. I do not know what she looks like now. And there you can see the original poster, which I also do have. The original trilogy up there. Some of the best monster movies ever made. There you can see Bill Heinzman. And Bill was the original zombie. And he released a movie a few years in the 80s. I think it was around 84, 85. He released a movie called Flesh Eater, which has a couple of different Blu-ray releases already. The newest one being from Vinegar Syndrome, which is a beautiful copy of that movie. And I would definitely recommend checking out Flesh Eater if you like any of the original Day, Night, Dawn. You would definitely like Flesh Eater too. Has that same feel to it. Some of the alternative artwork. I had a hard box from Germany that had that image on it, and I ended up selling it for a lot of money, and I regret it because I never found another one. They're very limited. I bought it, doubled my money by selling it. Somebody wanted it, and they made me an offer. I wasn't fleecing anybody, but they made me an offer, and I said, okay, I'll take it. And now I can never find another one. I've been looking for the last several years. I can't find it. Well, hopefully one day I'll get it. There's a little kind of a homage, I guess, to Rosemary's Baby, which to me, I think Rosemary's Baby is incredibly overrated, and it's a movie that I've seen it a couple times, and I just can't, I don't see the appeal. I don't understand why people like that movie so much. It's incredibly boring to me. Here we go. Here's some of the international poster art. Let's see if we can get in there and get a better detail. Those are amazing. I think the original that we got is pretty good. It's a good, sorry about that glare in there. It's a good poster, but some of these are even better. I think that has kind of the 60s EC artwork. That's what it kind of reminds me of. There's the German. Really, really cool. This is a great book. You can see a sample of the script. They're coming to get you, Barbara. Stop it, you're ignorant. There's old Ben. That was his name, right, Ben? I believe. Johnny comes back as a zombie. And then in the remake, the Tom Savini remake, I think Bill Moseley was Johnny. Which the remake was excellent too. Usually remakes fall really short compared to the original, but in this case I think it was just as good. This was kind of a, I guess, the scene where, I can't remember her name now. It wasn't Barbara. Did Ben slap Barbara? But it was kind of a controversial scene, a black man slapping a white woman in the late 60s. Yeah, this is a pretty cool book. And it has tons of information on it. If you guys are interested in this, I'm not sure if it's still available. I'll take a look at where I got it. And if they still have some available, I'll leave a link down below. You can go check it out if you're interested. But, I mean, it does have a little bit of issues, and this is how the books came. So there's a little bit of spine damage. There's a little bit of, if that kind of stuff bothers you, then I'm sure you probably won't want to get this. But for me, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just a fan of these movies, so I like to look at these books. So, all right, we'll put that one off to the side. I'm going to pause it here for a minute, and we'll keep moving. This next book here is called Creepy. It's from 1974 from a company called Warren Magazine. This is issue number 66. I'm going to give a shout out here to a fellow YouTuber who I think deserves way more subs than what he has. He goes by Grottu Orloff, and he has a channel called Hotel Orloff, and he shows a lot of books like this. He's very knowledgeable about especially comics and pop culture from like the 60s and 70s. That seems to be his wheelhouse from those 2 decades. But I mean, it's obviously much more than just those 2 decades. But I find myself watching his channel more and more. He's a new channel for me. I've been watching him now for about a month. And then I met a couple other kind of viewers of his channel also, and I shouted one out a couple videos ago to Meyer Greenblatt, but this time I'm going to shout out Grottu Orloff, and I'm going to leave a link down below if you guys like this kind of stuff, you know, old comics or old horror magazines, and you'll definitely like this channel. So he doesn't know I'm shouting him out, so if you do decide to go and subscribe, tell him, you know, hi, tell him Toddy Walnuts sent you. So let's flip through here. This is a really cool cover. Very violent. So back when comics were around in the golden age, they used to have violent covers like this before they had the comic code, where they had to kind of clean up the violence on some of the covers and stuff like that, because a lot of the people who were buying comics were children. A lot of the people who were reading comics were children, so they had to kind of clean it up a little bit. But the magazines never really had a code like that. So once it got into like the late 60s, and this is now early to mid 70s, they could still have, you know, like beheadings on magazines and stuff like that. So you can see that it has a $1 price tag, which I think nowadays magazines are about $5-6 a pop, maybe more. I'm not sure, but yeah, probably more, because it looks like this Horror Hound has a $7 price tag, and that's from 2010. So, but yeah, these are really fun little magazines. I thought it would be kind of fun to flip through in case some of you have never seen these before and you want to kind of find out what these are about. These are pulp magazines, and how they got the name pulp is because of the cheap paper that they used to make. It's almost like a newspaper quality paper and print, and they weren't really made to last long. And so the ones that have survived over time in good condition, the ones that get graded, are much more valuable. Just like anything else, condition is everything in a magazine or a comic. But for guys who just like to read them and look at them, condition doesn't really mean that much. You know, if you're a collector and you're trying to get high prices for your stuff, then you want to have like minty fresh comics and magazines and get them graded. But if you're just a reader and you like to read because you love the stories and the books, then you really don't mind if it's, you know, get a cheaper copy. So I just wanted to kind of go through and show you guys what these looked like, and then we'll get into some more colorful books here in a minute. We'll open up a Texas Chainsaw book here in a second. But these are really cool. So I think the Creepy magazine started in the 60s, and I think it ran through into the 80s. Some of the books are pretty expensive, and like I said, quality is everything, so the better condition a book is in, the more it's going to cost you. But you can get these anywhere from, I think these are like mid-grade, 15, 20 bucks a pop for the mid-grade. Some of the lower grades you can get for 10 or less, and then some of the very high grades can go anywhere from 60, 70, 100 bucks. I guess, you know, these are worth whatever you're willing to pay for them. So for me, I just like to kind of hang in that mid-range for these. I gotta make sure that they're complete. I don't really want to have stains or rips and holes and stuff like that. But I don't need to have like the most minty fresh for these. This book's almost 50 years old and looks like it's in pretty good shape. Try not to make the pages squeak with my fingers, because I know that's kind of a pet peeve. At least for me it is. I hate that sound. If you're trying to chill and you hear that squeak of fingers, it just kind of ruins the moment. Cool artwork there. You guys will have to let me know if you like these kind of chill videos. If you do, give it a thumbs up. That kind of gives me an idea. And I don't normally beg for thumbs up or subs or anything, but it just gives me an idea that you guys do like these. If I see a bunch of thumbs up, I'll do more in the future. If there's not as many thumbs up, I just won't do them anymore. Here's some of the masks you can buy back in 1974. $8.95 a piece for these masks. Nowadays, you can't even get shipping for that. Check out all those cool masks for $8.95 a piece. Frankenstein, Phantom, Mummy, Hunchback, Mr. Hyde, and Tor Johnson. And then you get the Metaluna robot. Wolfman. Shout out to Darren Crowder. I know he loves the Wolfman. Vermilion Skull. The Skull, and Thin Frankenstein. It has a long, thin face, it says, and then you can get some horror films on soundtrack for $7.49 a piece. You can get The Birth of Frankenstein, The Curse of Frankenstein, The Horror of Dracula, The Face of Fu Manchu, The Horror of Fu Manchu. I believe those are the Christopher Lee Fu Manchus. Oh, they're calling him here Chris Lee. Huh. Cosmic Monsters, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, The Octopus, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, The Atomic Cloud, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Sea of Mines, and The Frogmen. And then there's Captain Marvel films. From the comic page to film, you get 3 movies for $21.95. And then for Batman, you get 6 movies for $45.95. I'm trying to see if that's... Oh, it's Super 8. Wow. That's not even VHS. I guess that's before VHS. So you're going to get those movies on Super 8 film. And then back here, you can get some comic book. So you can get The Great Adventures of Batman for $3.50. The Batman novel for $3.50, and the Joker for $3.50. Can you imagine that? Wow. Then you got one called No Man, Batman the Penguin, Dynamo, Superman and Batman, hardback cover books, Wonder Woman, You can own a complete library of Star Trek books, 14 volumes. So how much are these? It says adaptations of 7 TV episodes, 95 cents a piece. Wow. And then over here you can get monster movie kits. You get a glow-in-the-dark Frankenstein, kind of a model kit for $2.50. Glow-in-the-dark Dracula, $2.50. And Phantom of the Opera. All of these cool kits are $2.50 a piece. It was a simpler time. It was a better time. I wish we can go back. I really wish we can go back. Things these days are not good. So here are long play records of original radio broadcasts. You get Inner Sanctum, Charlie Chan, Green Hornet, Flash Gordon. These are all $6.98 a piece. Those are like the radio broadcasts, the serials that they used to play on the radio. Get a werewolf nose. Superhero pins. How much are the pins? $1.25 a piece. There's a creepy fan club. You can join the fan club for $2. You can get back issues of the magazine in a leather-bound library case, they're calling it. So you can get the back issues and the case for $4.95. Can you imagine that? Wow. I bet you somebody out there has that case with magazines in it in pretty good condition. There's got to be at least somebody out there with that. I would love to see it. There's a couple rings you can buy. You get some patches, sew on your coat, whatever, I don't know. And you can get full color monster movies on 8mm and Super 8mm. Films by Ray Harryhausen in black and white or in color. The 4 films of Seventh Voyage of Sinbad and Jason and the Argonauts. And it looks like they are $7.99 for black and white or $15.95 for color a piece. Wow. That's cool. And then there's your order form. I would order just about everything on there and it'd probably only come to like $15. And you get a free gift by subscribing. So very cool. Going back in time. Here's a monster convention that took place in New York City November 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th of 1974. And let's see who was there. The most monsterific convention ever held, a world-famous monster rally sponsored by famous monsters of Filmland. I think I have a couple of those magazines I'm going to show today. We'll get to those in a little bit. Will be held on Veterans Day, featuring a 4-day festival of famous names and fabulous events and exhibitions in a wide world of monsters. All-star cast of celebrities, but it doesn't say who. I was hoping it would drop a couple names, but so yeah, that was a pretty fun little magazine to go through. So let's pause it here and I'll pick another book. So I figured next we can go through the Horror Hound from March and April of 2010. And on the cover of this one was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And also the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. And it has a special about 80s slashers. We can take a peek through here. This is Horror Hound Weekend back in 2010. George A. Romero was there, Clive Barker, Sid Haig. Let's see, there's a couple of our favorites are gone, no longer with us. Sid Haig is gone and George is gone. I'd love to meet Clive Barker someday. Tom Savini. You can take Tom Savini's special makeup effects program. I'm not sure if he still does that. I know he had kind of a course that you can go to that he teaches. I'm not sure if he does that anymore though. Here's another one, the HMA Net Mask Fest 2010. It's going to have some of these there. Greg Nicotero, Tom Savini. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Pretty good low dollar, low buck slasher movie. Kind of loosely based on Henry Lee Lucas and Otis Toole. This movie's pretty good. The House of the Devil. I went into that movie not knowing anything at all about it. I've seen it many, many years ago now, but I went into it blind and I was very impressed. I think that's a great movie, House of the Devil. Check that out if you haven't seen it yet. Some horror figures, Sideshow Collectibles. They're pretty much the top of the mark when it comes to quality figures and statues. I have some over here that are some pretty big ticket items. This one right here is a Sideshow. I've shown those before. That's also a Sideshow. Those are probably about $1,000 a piece now. They go up in price. Dr. Herbert West, the Reanimator. Freddy. So here's A to Z of 80s slashers. You guys will have to comment down below. Let me know what your favorite slasher is of all time. Be interested to hear. Maybe you have a favorite that I've never seen before. I'll definitely check it out. And then you can read other people's suggestions too, and maybe you'll find something that you'll like. People do go back and read the comments section. It's usually a wealth of information because people share stuff down there and other people read it and get some good info out of that. I call it the throbbing brain. Look at some of these old VHS covers. Sad to see that physical media is dying. It's dying a slow death. Everything is becoming digital. Really cool spread here. All these different VHS covers. Do you have any of these? I have a couple of them. I have a few of them. Be interested to hear which one you guys have. It's kind of a lost art too. You don't really get to see a lot of the artwork. Back in the day when you go to a VHS store to rent a couple movies, you can walk up and down the aisles for several minutes just staring at the different covers. That was part of the fun of it. All the different covers of The Prowler. That's another good movie. It's a really good underrated slasher movie, but I think more people are becoming aware of it now. Blue Underground has a really nice Blu-ray release of that movie. And I would recommend The Prowler. If you haven't seen it before, do check it out. Wes Craven's Shocker. Wes Craven's Shocker. Okay, we get it. Barbie Benton played in X-Ray. I believe she was dating Hugh Hefner at the time. And she's quite nude in the movie. But to me, Barbie Benton, as pretty as she was, she just, all that fake, the surgery that she had on her body just didn't really do anything for me. I prefer a natural, au naturel. I don't really want all that plasticky look to a female shape. I've never been to a convention before, ever. And that's probably hard to believe, being that I'm such a huge horror movie fan. I've never been to a convention before. I would love to go to one, or 2 or 10, but we don't really have them around here in where I live. But I know that San Diego puts on a good con, and Texas Frightmare every year is a huge success, and I'd love to go there sometime. I think we'll go through one more book after this one, just to kind of give this a trial run and see if you guys like it. And like I say, I'm not begging for thumbs up. It just gives me an idea. Here's John Russo again. He's aged, and this is 13 years ago. So Bill Heinzman has passed away now. He's gone. George Romero's gone. Ken Foray's still with us. Adrienne Barbeau, Tom Savini, David M.G., Galen Ross, Scott Reiniger. Joe Pilato is gone. He's no longer with us. He was from Day of the Dead. Harry Manfredini is still with us. John Amplis, I'm not sure. Gary Clark, I don't know. Diabolic DVD, wow. I've been dealing with those guys for a long time. They got a nice little spread here, or a nice little ad spot 13 years ago. Little Jesse Nelson over there at Diabolic. All right, I'm going to pause it. I guess we'll go through one more, even though I have like 10 here. I just want to give this a trial and see how it's received before I keep going. So let's pull one more out, and then we'll call it a night. I think we'll go through this Famous Monsters of Filmland from 2013. And this has Lovecraft's Greatest Creature. I'm probably going to butcher that name because I've heard it called or pronounced different ways. I've heard it called Cthulhu. I've heard it called Cthulhu. And I've even heard it pronounced another way. And I guess if you look it up, Lovecraft has some really bizarre way of actually pronouncing it, so you can do your own research and find out how to really pronounce that. But I'm going to call it Cthulhu just for the sake of this video, even though I know it's not right. So you can get a Vincent Price guitar for $1,000. I would be interested to know if anybody bought that, or how much it's going for now, 10 years later, because this is a 2013 book. We're in 2023 as I'm recording this, or as I'm filming this. Yeah, that's a hard shell case. You get the framed canvas. How do you pronounce that? Geekly? I don't know. And you also get a Vincent Price t-shirt, a number of certificate of authenticity, and limited run of 300. So that's probably going for some big bucks now. 10 years later, I would be curious to know if that's gone up in price. There's a figure of Forrest J. Ackerman. Huh. I didn't even know that existed. I think, wasn't Forrest J. Ackerman the one who coined the term sci-fi for science fiction? Didn't he kind of coin that phrase, or that term, I guess? CultTVManshop.com. See, that's going to be me when I'm an old man. I'm going to still have all my toys and stuff. You're never too old to play with toys. Here's some DVD sets. You got the Thunderbirds. I never really liked that show. I always thought that was kind of weird. Like the little puppetry. I just never really got into it. But some of this looks pretty cool. What is this? The Aquamphibians from Stingray. Wow. That looks good. The Thunderbirds Are Go. I know Twilight Time had that Blu-ray several years ago now. I think it's sold out. So this is a nice little tribute to Gary Anderson, who created a lot of that stuff back there. There's a Cthulhu. I'm a big fan of Lovecraft. I think he was great. He was only, what, 40... I don't think he made 50. He was probably 47 or 48 when he passed away, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. And he was way ahead of his time. This was back in the 1920s. He was writing all these excellent sci-fi novels and stories. Hey HP, why the long face? That's pretty cool. I actually got the name of my second channel from a Lovecraft story, Dagon. That's my second channel for video game play. That's cool. The Kingdom of Kong. I love the Kong movies. They're so good. Here's the original Fay Wray, and then that's Jessica Lange from 80... What was it? 87? No. 70-something. 75, I think. And then is this the Peter Jackson... But Jessica Lange looked magnificent. Well, it's working for her. Chill time was really working for her. I hope I can sleep good tonight. Hope you guys are relaxed. There's a cool Kong figure. Doc Savage, Skull Island. That is awesome. I might have to try to track that issue down. I like that cover. I love the Kong movies. All right, I'm gonna end it here. We're gonna call it a night. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you'd like to see more of these. I have a bunch of magazines I can flip through. If you guys enjoy these, just let me know. Leave some comments. Let me know what your favorite slasher is or what your favorite VHS tape was, just to kind of generate a little conversation down there. And yeah, I think that's it. You guys have a great night. Thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.